All right, people, we did it. We got to video number 10 in my 10-day YouTube sprint. We are at the finish line and it feels so good. It was way harder than I thought it would be. It was way more time consuming than I thought it would be. But here we are. We got through it. If you have been following along for this sprint, I want to say a big thank you, big shout out. Thanks for watching these videos. Now, technically this is day 12 of my 10-day YouTube sprint, which means I came up a little short, but hey, that's okay. I still hit my goal of making 10 videos and I got a lot better at making them along the way. And that's what really matters. Now, I know these videos could be so much better, like a lot better. And I know I have a long way to go, but we're off and running. So much of life is just starting, and now through these videos, I have built up some momentum to carry me forward. Also, I apologize in advance if you can hear the windstorm that's happening outside of my apartment right now. One of the things we're going to talk about today is how I need to improve the audio of my videos. So any wind that you hear in this video is going to be a reminder, for me at least, to get my act together here. So this video is going to be a reflection on what I learned over the last 12 days. I'm going to talk about what I've learned from starting a YouTube channel, from making videos, editing videos, and posting them on YouTube. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I have an announcement to share with you guys as well. I'm going to use a very simple template to reflect on these last 12 days. The beauty of this template is that you guys can use it in your own lives. Regardless of what you want to improve, this template is going to help you become a better athlete, a better writer. It's going to help you improve your social skills. Whatever it is, this template will help you get better. Okay, it's really only 3 questions, but they are very powerful. The questions are, what did I do well? What can I improve? And what am I going to do to improve? Let's break these questions down first, and then I will apply them to my YouTube sprint. The first question, what did I do well? This is a really important question to ask, and it's really important that we ask this question first. Because look, whenever we look back on something, especially with the intent to improve, the easiest part will always be pointing out what went wrong. We have this tendency to fixate on one little mistake that we made, even if everything else went well. So this question is designed to give us some credit, to acknowledge the small wins, and to just acknowledge what went well and keep doing that. The second question, what do I need to improve? Now, first of all, what's important with this question is how it's worded. Notice how it's not worded as what went wrong or what did I really suck at. The question is geared towards making things better. What can I improve? This helps us avoid being a little too hard on ourselves. We all make mistakes, but mistakes are actually valuable and important, but only if we aim to improve upon them. So instead of saying, I'm always late to meetings, for example, you might say, I need to improve at getting to meetings on time. The difference may seem subtle, but in the second example, you're framing your mistakes as something that can be improved. And of course, the practical element of this question is that you're identifying specific things that you need to work on, which is important before you move on to question number 3. Question number 3, what am I going to do to improve? Without this question, the last question is completely irrelevant. If you don't have a plan to improve, your improvement is going to be much, much slower if you improve at all. You see this with elite athletes. They practice very specific things in very specific ways. This is also known as deliberate practice, when you're working on something that's specific and is just outside of your current level of ability. So for this question, if we're using the punctuality example again, and you say, I need to improve at getting to meetings on time, you would use the question, what am I going to do to improve? And then you might say, I'm going to give myself an extra 10 minutes to get to the meeting. So if the meeting is a 15-minute drive away, maybe you leave 25 minutes before your meeting. Another strategy you could use is to set an alarm or set a timer for 10 minutes before you have to leave, so you have fair warning to actually get your stuff together and leave the house. That would be an example on how to use this question to improve your punctuality. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm going to use this template to talk about how I'm going to improve my YouTube channel after this 12-day sprint. Question number 1, what went well? The really obvious one for me is that I made 10 videos. Regardless of quality, right? Some were decent, others were awful, but I kept making the videos and I finished. The second thing that went well is that I got better. I've learned a ton already. In 12 days, I learned how to cut my editing time in half. I learned how to plan out a video, how to come up with a basic concept and outline. I learned how to make thumbnails and so on. Now again, I'm only at the beginning of this. I still have a long way to go, but I am encouraged by the progress I've made. Okay, on to question number 2. What do I need to improve? This list is going to be a little longer than the first one because the short answer is everything, but that obviously defeats the purpose of this exercise, so let's get into specifics. Number 1, I need to make my videos more entertaining and more interesting. Part of that is the YouTube platform. With so much content on here, you need to be good at grabbing and holding the attention of your audience. But it's also important because an entertaining video with a powerful message will always be more entertaining than a boring video with the same powerful message, as long as the entertainment value doesn't distract from this message, of course. The message, the story, should always come first. Number 2, I need to get better at planning out my videos. Videos 1, 2, and 3 were completely unplanned and off the cuff. Video number 1 had a nice beginner's innocence to it, but videos 2 and 3 were pretty bad. It was a lot of rambling without any clear message or specific point to the video. Now, some people might be able to turn on the camera and create amazing content off the top of their head, but I have learned through this process that I am not one of those people. At the very least, I need some talking points to go off of when I'm making these videos. Number 3, I need to work on my thumbnails and titles for these videos. It's no secret that people are going to click on videos with engaging thumbnails and interesting titles. They also have to work really well together. And the reality is, it doesn't matter how great your video is if no one is clicking on it. And so part of me thinks that you kind of have to start with the thumbnail and title in mind before creating the video, or you create the video and then spend 1, 2, maybe even 3 days thinking about the thumbnail and what the title is going to be. You have to do this because they are that important. Number 4, I need to find my voice for this channel. Now, I'm not talking about my actual voice and the sound that is coming out of my mouth. I'm more so talking about my style of speaking to the camera. Now, of course, authenticity is key. It is the most important part of these videos, I think. And I'm certainly not talking about creating some kind of fake persona that I put on during these videos. I'm talking about finding the right balance between authentic and engaging. Number 5, the list goes on after this one, but I'll just make this my last point. I need to improve the audio of these videos. As you remember, I mentioned this in the intro to this video, but that's definitely something that I need to work on. And the truth is, you can get everything else right, but if the audio in your video sucks, it's gonna be close to impossible to make a really good video. The solution for this problem is pretty obvious, but to honor the sanctity of this template, I will save it for the next section. Okay, and that brings us to question number 3. What am I going to do to improve? This is the most important part. In this step, I'm just going to talk about everything that I did in the last section and talk about how I'm going to improve in these areas. So, number 1, I need to make my videos more entertaining. What can I do to improve? Well, there are some obvious ways to do this, and then there are some more subtle ways to do this. Maybe the most obvious one is to put more interesting video content in these actual videos. Just having me sit here and talk is only going to be so interesting. But if I add some different cuts like this, or I could add some different B-roll footage, like this example here of me typing on my computer, or here's some video of me doing some push-ups in my hallway, or maybe if I add some stock video as I talk about the long, hard climb that is required to get to the top and reach your goals. Stuff like this can instantly make the videos more entertaining, and there's a very simple reason for that. The reason is just that there is more information for your brain to process, which keeps it more engaged. The more subtle ways that I can make these videos more interesting is to use music to convey a mood or to try to get a strong message across. Perhaps I could be talking and then all of a sudden there'd be a stop in the music just to add a little bit more effect. I could also use more titles in my videos. For example, I could do this section of the video like this. In this video, we are going to cover my top 5 tips for making $1 million in 24 hours. Or I could do it like this. In this video, we are going to cover my top 5 tips for making $1 million in 24 hours. Things like that might make it a little more entertaining. Sleazy in this example, yes, but more entertaining nonetheless. Now, of course, with these examples, I have to be very careful not to take them too far. As soon as they become distracting and take away from the actual message of the video, it starts to become a problem. This is art after all, it's not a frickin' commercial. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Number 2, I need to get better at planning out my videos. What am I going to do to improve? I think one key factor here is honestly just time. That became the problem with this sprint, is that it's really hard to create quality videos every single day. And the reason why that's the case, at least for me, is there's just less time to plan out the video. I've learned over the years that when you're making something, it's good to create, then take some time off, maybe have a good night's sleep, and come back to it the next day. Because the next day, you're gonna have a fresh view on things, you're gonna see things more clearly, you're gonna have better ideas, things that you can add to the project, and perhaps most importantly, you're gonna have a good eye to see what you need to get rid of and delete from that project. So by scheduling out some kind of planning routine, even if it's just over 2 days, I think that the quality of my videos will go up along with that. But another thing that I can do to improve this is to start planning these videos with the end in mind and then reverse engineer what I want the video to look like. Right? I need to be clear on what it is I'm trying to say, what the message of the video is, and what I want the key takeaway to be. From there, I can create a plan for the video. It's kind of like having a thesis and an essay. If you don't have a thesis, you have nothing to aim at. Moving on to number 3. I need to work on my thumbnails and titles. What am I going to do to improve? This is trickier. I think there's a real art to this because you obviously need to have compelling thumbnails and titles, but you have to be very careful not to take that too far. There is a real risk of creating something that is too clickbaity or disingenuous or dishonest or whatever. So for me, I think it's going to require some trial and error, but one thing that I can definitely do today is to have a thumbnail and title in mind before I ever start shooting the video. In almost every video throughout this sprint, I started thinking about the thumbnail and title as I was uploading the video, which left me scrambling to create something really important on a tight timeline, which is a terrible idea. Okay, on to number 4. I need to find my voice for this channel. What am I going to do to improve? I think this is definitely something that's going to evolve on its own over time. But something that I can start doing right now is to just frickin' relax a little bit, to let my personality come out more and more, and remember that if things go too far or if things get too weird, I can always edit it out in post. Now, I'm a pretty laid back, relaxed kind of person, so I need to remind myself to keep my energy up, but at the same time, I don't want to go overboard with that because you can lose your authenticity in that overcorrection. The reality is there are advantages to being an eccentric person on YouTube, just like there are advantages to being more calm, cool, and collected. And finally, number 5, I need to improve the audio in my videos. What am I going to do to improve this? Can you tell that this is an important one for me? I can't stop talking about it. And of course, the answer is really obvious. I need to buy an external microphone. Right now, I'm just using the built-in microphone on my camera, and it's okay, but it's certainly not at the level of quality that it needs to be. And that's it. That's the reflection process I use to improve at specific skills. I highly encourage you guys to use this same process to improve at something that you're working on right now. It's something that you can do at the end of every week or even every day if it's that important to you. If you want to be a better athlete, quilter, friend, spouse, parent, whatever it is, this is going to help you. Now, before we wrap up, as promised, I have a rather exciting / terrifying announcement to make. For anyone wondering what the future of this channel will be, sit tight because I'm not too sure myself. But what I do know is that right here in this moment, frozen in time thanks to the power of recorded video, I am committing to make videos on YouTube for 3 more years. Regardless of traction, regardless of following, that is my promise to you. In the coming days, I will have to decide on some sort of publishing schedule, but for now, just know that there are more videos coming. And the reason that I'm doing this is because whether there is just 1 person watching this video right now, or whether it's 1 million, I want to make a positive impact on your life. I want to be even just a little speck of hope, someone who can get you through the hard times. I want to be someone who's there encouraging you to make a better life for yourself. Because when someone makes their own life better, the lives of everyone else around them get better too. So, signing off for now, I will see you in 2023 in my What I Learned from 3 years of making YouTube videos reflection video. As always, thank you for watching. Bye for now.